So again, we're looking at more factoring, 6.5. And this time again, we're going to start with our review of the factoring. So far, see if there's anything you can take out. Count the number of terms, 2 terms or 3 terms, we do the box. If not, we'll find out what to do in the next section on that. So now, is there anything I can take out of all 3? Nothing I see. First number goes here. Last number goes here. So we still remember x times x is that, but we have 6. And we know we can multiply together get 6 by doing 6 times 1 or 3 times 2. The only way we can get 2 is 1 times 2. So our play right now is in here. I would always start with the one that is not a 1. That's just my choice and what I like to try. So I'm going to plug those in and see what happens. 2 is on this column. This column, pardon me, is 2x. This row, 3x. And this row, 1. And I get here, I get 6x and I get 2x. And when I add them together, I get 8x and not 7x. So I'm going to kind of change this up a little bit and see if it helps us. I'm going to switch these 2 numbers. So I'm going to erase that. I'm going to erase the 1 and the 2, and I'm going to flip them. And I'm going to say, what if this is the 2 and this is the 1? So this column is 1. This row is 2. And when I get there, I'm going to see what that works. This is 3 times 1, 3. 2 times 2 is 4. And when I add those together, I get 7. So you might have to try a couple times until you get the right one. 2x and a positive 1, 3x and a positive 2. Let's try another one. So looking at this one, is there anything we can take out of all 3? Not that I see. So 8x squared and negative 3. So I'm going to do the x's here, and I know for 8, I can do 8 times 1. I can do 4 times 2. But here I need negative 3. And with negative 3, I'm going to need either negative 3 times 1 or 3 times negative 1. Notice that the 10 is positive. These are things I look at when I'm trying to guess my first time. I don't always know exactly which one's going to work, but while I'm trying to make a good guess, I'm looking at my numbers. If it's kind of high, 10's kind of a larger number, I'm going to start with the 3 being positive. So I'm going to use 4 and 2 just because, like I told you before, I try to stay away from the 1. Doesn't mean it won't work, but that's usually the choice I make to start. And I'm going to try 3 and negative 1. So negative 1, 2x here, it's an x, 4x goes here, 3, and in this box I get negative 4x, and in this box I get 6x. And when I add those 2 together, I get a 2. So I'm going to try it again. I'm going to flip these 2 again, because I think that'll be the easiest part for me right now. So it's going to affect all of these numbers. Won't affect that first number though. All right, so I'm going to make this the negative 1 and this the positive 3. 3 goes here. Negative 1 goes here. And in this box, I get 12x. In this box, I still get negative 3. In this box, I get negative 2x. 12 minus 2 gives me 10. So it only took me 2 tries. And this is a positive 3, not a negative 3, because it's positive, positive, positive. There's our negative, 4x minus 1. Again, we're going to be factoring, and our step 1, remember step 1 is see if there is anything you can take out. And that's of every term. Looking at those 3 terms, is there something we can take out? Definitely. I can take a 3 out. So this is 3 times x squared minus 3 times 7x plus 3 times 12. And so I'm going to set that 3 aside. and I get x squared minus 7x plus 12. And in our final answer, that 3 is going to come back, and it's going to be 3 times something and something. But right now, we're going to only focus on that portion of the problem. So now this x squared goes here, the 12 goes here. And I know I need to end up with 12 here. There's no number in front of the x, so I can kind of treat this like last section where I said, okay, it's got to add together to be 12, but, or excuse me, multiply together to be 12, but add together to be negative 7. And that would be negative 3 and negative 4. So x and x, coming up here, negative 4, columns x, this row's x, and this row's negative 3. So in this we get negative 4x, we get a negative 3x here. When we add these two together, we get negative 7. So it's going to be 3 times x minus 3 and x minus 4. Again, looking to see if there's anything we can take out. And in this problem we can take a 3 out again. This is 3 times 2m squared to get 6m squared plus 3 times 5mn plus, running out of room, 3 times, or excuse me, minus, because there's a minus right here, minus 3 times 3n squared. Phew, barely made it. So let's pull that 3 out. 3 is gone, 3 is gone, 3 is gone. And I'm left with 2m squared plus 5mn minus 3n squared. So I'm going to try negative 1 and positive 3. So this column gets negative 1n. And remember, we don't have to put the 1 there. This one, well, this is 2m and 1m. And again, this column gets that 1m, but we don't have to write the 1. And then 2m, and here 3n. When I multiply, I get negative 2mn and positive 3mn. And when I take those and subtract them, because one's positive, one's negative, I get 1, and I'm looking for 5. So I'm going to try sliding around these two again. I'm not going to change the sign. I'm just going to flip them, and I'm going to put negative 1n here and 3n here. So that's going to change this box completely. Let's take all that out. We're going to change this box. And let's see what happens. So this box gets 3n. This row gets 2m. This row gets negative 1m. And this column gets that 1m. So here we share negative 1m. And again, excuse me, 1n. Again, we don't need to write that in 1. We can just write it like this. So here we get 6mn. Here we get negative 1mn, positive and a negative. We subtract them. 6 minus 1 is 5. So now my final answer is that 3 that we don't want to forget from way back here. And then we have 2m minus n, m plus 3n.